Good day and welcome back to Royal News Daily, where royal speeches are treated like political briefings and every carefully chosen word gets its own magnifying glass. Now picture this moment. Midnight has passed, glasses are raised, and King Frederik delivers his New Year address. Calm voice, measured tone, warm expressions. But beneath that polished surface, the message carried more subtext than a late-night parliamentary debate. Because when a new king speaks about unity, change, and shared responsibility, the real question is simple. Who exactly is he talking to? Before we unpack the royal code, take a second to subscribe to Royal News Daily and click the notifications bell. This is where royal tradition meets political reality, and you do not want to miss what comes next. Now, let us read between the lines. On paper, King Frederik's address sounded reassuring. He spoke of togetherness, continuity, and navigating both joy and sorrow. Harmless, right? Except leaders do not choose words randomly, especially in their first major address of a new era. This was not just a New Year greeting. It was a mission statement. And like any political speech, what matters most is not what was said, but why it needed to be said at all. Here is the first layer. Frederik is stepping into a role shaped by sudden change. Queen Margrethe's abdication still echoes through the institution, and transitions of power always create uncertainty. When a leader emphasizes stability early, it is usually because stability is being tested. Australians have heard this tune before. New leadership arrives promising calm after chaos, continuity after surprise. The script is familiar because the strategy works. Now let us shift focus because the audience mattered. This speech was not just for the Danish public. It was for political leaders, international partners, and yes, the royal family itself. Every line doubled as internal communication. Unity was not a vague hope. It was a request, possibly even a reminder. Institutions, under pressure, often speak to themselves through public messaging. The phrase that caught attention was the emphasis on shared responsibility. That is leadership language. It spreads ownership and gently signals that the burden does not rest on one crown alone. In political terms, this is coalition logic. Everyone is in this together, so everyone is accountable. That framing matters when recent years have included title controversies, media scrutiny, and questions about the monarchy's modern role. Let's talk tone, because tone tells truths words avoid. Frederik did not sound offensive. He sounded careful, thoughtful, almost managerial. This was not a warrior king speech. It was a chief executive briefing. Calm reassurance delivered with just enough warmth to soften the edges. That tone suggests awareness of risk, not panic, but certainly vigilance. Now here comes the interesting comparison. In Australia, when leaders adopt this tone early in a term, it often signals a desire to reset expectations. No grand promises. No dramatic gestures, just steady hands on the wheel. King Frederik appears to be positioning himself as a stabilizer rather than a transformer. That alone tells us plenty about the internal temperature of the monarchy right now. Another subtle clue was what he did not mention. No direct reference to controversy. No acknowledgement of family tensions. No nod to recent headlines. That omission is strategic. Addressing issues gives them oxygen. Ignoring them forces attention elsewhere. Silence, once again, becomes a tool of control. This mirrors modern political crisis management perfectly. Now, let us widen the lens. This speech arrives at a time when monarchies across Europe are reassessing relevance. Younger generations are skeptical. Public trust is conditional. Frederik's message leaned into values rather than authority, service rather than status. Connection rather than command. That is not accidental. It is adaptation. So is the royal family on edge. Not fractured, not collapsing, but certainly alert. The address felt like a leader checking the foundations after an unexpected tremor. Everything still stands, but adjustments are underway. Messaging is tightening. Appearances are being curated, and words are being weighed like legislation. The hidden meaning is this. King Frederik knows the spotlight is unforgiving. The margin for error is thin, and the monarchy's future depends on perception as much as tradition. His New Year message was not about celebration. It was about consolidation. And in politics, consolidation is what happens right before the real work begins. Thank you for watching Royal News Daily.